they can directly register for PhD. So we have many such students from B Pharm or from BTech who directly pursue PhD here at ICT itself. Then there is CSIR, ICMR, as I told you, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and Indian Council of Medical Research. They give senior research fellowships. What I've done in the third column is provided you with web links. Once a lecture is done, I can pass on this presentation to Dr. Richa, and then from there, I think it can be given to all who are interested. DBT, which is Department of Biotechnology, gives JRF. Then there is US-India, grant, which focuses on research. It is US-India Education Forum, which gives Fulbright Nehru Fellowships. And these Fulbright Nehru Fellowships, in fact, for that, you need to identify a host in, of course, because it is Indo-USA, you will have to identify host institute in USA. What do they give? They give you J1, that's visa, stipend would be there, accident coverage, again, even round trip travel is included under this grant. And generally, it takes about a year to process. By July, they will ask you for applications, and by August next year, you are ready to go. So, if definitely you're interested to go to USA and have not got in the normal way of writing GRE, TOEFL, you can look at this particular grant too. Welcome Trust NIH grant is another grant which is for a 4-year PhD studentship in UK as well as Ireland. Again, sometimes our students do get confused whether they are eligible. Yes, you are eligible. Anyone who is working in basic sciences, life sciences, which is pharmacy is a part, is eligible for this grant. And so are, if someone is working in, say, chemistry side or even public health, they can also avail this grant. Typically, you get about £80,000 for 4 years. And what is the modus operandi? It's only interviews, nothing else. Very simple to crack because basic knowledge we have seen and over the years we have been seeing is Indian students are much more well-versed. Now, as far as these foreign grants are concerned, Indo-US, Indo-UK, etc., what they would look in you is not only the knowledge base, but they'll also look at whether you have the ability for that cultural exchange. Do you understand history of your own country? And whether you will be able to percolate some of the customs which we have here, whether you will be able to talk about that. The festivals which we celebrate, whether you will be able to talk to the people abroad, and whether you can be flag bearer of India. Another grant is by UGC, which is Single Girl Child Grant. This is also known as Indira Gandhi Scholarship. In fact, as a name suggests, you should not have any other sibling. That means you are the sole child of your parents and you are girl child. So a lot of incentives are there for girl child. UGC provides 3,000 scholarships. You heard me right. It is 3,000 scholarships for a period of 2 years. And if this can be as an incentive, the girl child can take any other fellowship. Over and above that, they can get about 36,200 rupees per annum. One condition is that age should not be more than 30 years and no distance education type of a program will be covered here. So this is just a snapshot of Inspire Fellowship, which I talked about earlier, which is eligibility's first rank at university. Now you may say, if I have different branches, like if I have M-Pharm, pharmaceutics, quality assurance, how is it considered? So branch-wise first rank is considered. So please keep that in mind. And student also can shift to Inspire from ongoing fellowship throughout the year. So what do we do here? is if our master students are really genuinely interested in PhD, we take them on some industrial project. And from the industrial project, by the time the results are declared of Inspire Fellowship, they can work on industrial project and then shift to Inspire. Why they will like to shift to Inspire? Because Inspire definitely gives much better fellowship than any of the industrial projects will be. So if typically UGC students are getting about 35,000 plus HRA, Inspire Fellows will get something like 50,000 plus HRA. So keeping that in mind, again, it is one of very important initiative taken by Government of India to retain best talent in India only. So meritorious students of places like ICT, 80% of our students go out. I'm sure same is the story elsewhere too. So in order to retain them, the government has given them real good incentives. These are some of the short-term exchange programs. There are some students who always will ask you the first question, Madam, while doing PhD with you, whether I'll be able to go abroad and do part of my work? Answer is yes. If you do have work wherein you have identified what work you will do at ICT and what work on, for that matter, Punjab University, and then what would you do elsewhere? If it is very clearly outlined, what is it what you're going to get from the other university? If you can convince me, there are n number of grants which I can write. So CEFIPRA is one of them. CEFIPRA is Ramana Fellowship. This is for France. Then there is JRD Tata Trust. In fact, this trust gives lot of scholarships, even to meritorious students while they are doing B.Pharm. You can get funding. All your fee can be recovered if you are meritorious students. Similarly, there are SN Bose Scholar student exchange programs. University of Queensland also has some scholarship. And then there are fellowships like GREAT, G-R-E-A-T, GREAT. Talking about CEFIPRA, which I told you is from France, eligibility is that you should be registered for PhD. So you're doing major of your work here in India, but for 3 to 6 months, you can go availing this fellowship to France. So if, for example, if someone is interested in working on cosmeceuticals, knowing that Paris is a place where most of the inventions or innovations come in cosmeceuticals, you can definitely go to Paris. It is open throughout the year. Only thing is, before you go, you apply at least 6 months prior. And you can see here the research areas which are supported include life sciences, and we do come under life sciences. Travel grants. Generally, students would want to avail travel grants to present their work in conferences abroad, be it oral presentation or poster presentation. Typically, government gives grant once every 3 years. Meaning, if you have applied to DST in 2022, you will be eligible to apply to DST only in 2025. But you can apply to DBT the next year. So DST, that's Department of Science and Technology, does give international travel. SERB, that is Science and Engineering Research Board, also supports you. DBT gives, CSIR gives, ICMR gives. Many people do not know about CICS, that's Center for International Cooperation in Science, and Ratan Tata Trust, Navrojji by Ratan Tata Trust. They also give you travel grants. Now, what is it required for these travel grants? Of course, if you go to and click on these web link, you will know that general information is desired. So obviously, you will fill your CV there. But in addition to it, what is very important and where many people fail is getting references from their own teachers who know them well. So, a very strong recommendation letter is required from the teacher as to why this particular student should get a travel grant. And what is required at your end? You have to tell these bodies that whatever I'm going to gain abroad, how I'm going to disseminate that knowledge. So after coming back, is it that that knowledge, what you have gained in that conference, will be available only to you? Answer is no. So you have to write how will you disperse that knowledge. So that is very important SOP of writing for travel grants, and which I am actually sharing it with you. That's what our students do. And in fact, in our lab, we do have weekly meetings, and these weekly meetings, the student who comes back has to present in a nutshell which are the sessions which she or he attended and what were the learnings. So that way the message passes. We also have research club where this will be discussed. So to the larger audience also it gets distributed the knowledge. This is about CTEP. Again, I've taken a snapshot. And CTEP stands for Conference, Travel, Exhibition and Popular Lectures. That means Department of Biotechnology gives you money for each of these. So if you want to arrange for an exhibition, definitely money is available. Popular lectures, people don't ask for. But you can call Bob Langer and have his popular lecture, get the money from DBT. So you need to apply online, giving all the details. Eligibility, of course, is if you are doing PhD or faculty, you will get travel grant only once in 3 years. Again, for conference, once in 3 years. But all these applications are open throughout the year. Earlier, DBT was only the soft copy, all others were hard copy, but very recently in COVID times, everything has changed. Everything is online now. So that was while doing masters and PhD, what grants you can avail. Now coming to what are the opportunities after PhD, you can get postdoctoral fellowships, young investigator grants. There are certain special grants for young women scientists, and then you can also have fellowships for faculty position. Many times someone who is really genuinely interested in teaching and research, they feel that they do not have teaching posts, but government has created additional posts. You can avail them and then join a reputed, institute and work with them. And of course, I'll also talk about India re-entry fellowships. These are for students who have finished their PhD and gone abroad, but they do not want to stay there. They want to make their career here back in India for a variety of reasons. Could be your personal reasons, could be anything. But you want to come back to India. People like me never went abroad. I was a very, very strong personality. When at that time I said, I have everything here in India. If at all something is required, I'll give to others. And till today, meaning I'm giving lectures even to US, UK, Japan, everywhere throughout the world. Please keep in mind, many students have come back and told us the facilities which we have here in India. And of course, I'm in a very good place. ICT are much better than other universities abroad. People have repented going there. Go there. I'm not saying do not go. Go there for an exposure. But see that your country has given you so much. They have spent for each student. Our country is spending millions, starting from primary education. So give back to your own country. So that is a program, re-entry program, where actually a total panel goes from here to different countries. They have a sort of exhibition where people who are genuinely interested in coming back come, and then they bring them at good positions in IITs, ICERs, ICTs, and places like that. Conventional opportunities which are available for postdoctoral fellowship are from CSIR. So you have CSIR, Nehru Science Postdoctoral Fellowship. I have a student, postdoctoral fellowship. She's on DS Kothari. So under DS Kothari, what do you get? It's open again throughout the year. You get about 55,000 rupees, meaning 43,000 plus HRA for 3 years. In addition, you get about 1 lakh per year as a contingency, which comes every quarterly. So definitely there is benefit. If you talk about DBT, it is for about 1 year to 1.5 year. You can this opens every August actually. So in fact, under this, now a person who is chairman and head of department in Nigeria is going to come in our lab as postdoctoral student. So that is Third World Academy of Sciences and DBT Fellowship. What does he get? He'll get all the money for travel, he'll get all the money for research, he'll get money for stay, visa, everything. What do I get? Definitely, it is an international collaboration plus a contingency amount for doing research. So obviously here I have identified malaria because person is from South Africa, so it will be very easy for me to whatever formulations we have developed, do clinical studies there. Age limit is there; it is not for people who are above 40 years. Other fellowships like Swarna Jayanti Fellowship, again, age group is 30 to 40 years. I would really request your faculty, who is young faculty, to apply for such grants. 30 to 40 years, 25,000 rupees per month, which is in addition to your salary. The salary amount remains that you continue to get over and above that, you get 25,000 rupees per month. That is not all. You get 5 lakh per annum for doing research. And this can be for a period of 5 years. Same as with JC Bose National Fellowship. In fact, JC Bose National Fellowship can continue up to 68 years. So those who lose the opportunity for getting Swarna Jayanti do get JC Bose or some fellowship like what I got. I've got Abdul Kalam National Fellowship, which is not listed here because it's a very recent fellowship. So under Abdul Kalam National Fellowship, what am I getting? I'm getting 50 lakh per annum to do research for a period of 3 years, extendable to 5 years, plus over and above my salary of senior professor, I'm getting 25,000 rupees per month. And in addition, ICT gets a lump sum amount as overheads. Same way, you do have BASE Fellowship, which BASE stands for Bhaskara Advanced Solar Energy Fellowship Program. This is also for 3 to 12 months. So anyone who is working in energy sector, bioenergy, you know, is a very important sector. So anyone working there can avail this and can actually work in US after availing this grant. Ramana Fellowship is another important fellowship. Both Ramana and Ramalinga Swami, there's another one. They give major support even for equipment. So I told you, you'll get fellowship, you'll get research grant, you'll get overheads, but this fellowship also gives you grant for equipment and infrastructure. So please do visit each of these and see where you fit well. DBT has highest grant, which is known as Purana Nirenberg Scholars Program. And under this particular program, in fact, you get all the benefits whichever you can think. Now, what is important about this is you can go and work in any NIH in US for a period of 2 to 3 years. So you are doing postdoc under NIH institution, but you have to give in writing that after completing that, you will come and serve your own country. So you will be a faculty in Indian Institute. So all the money, whatever you can think of for that period and much more than that, you would get if you're writing this Purana Nirenberg. As far as DBT is concerned, they also give you, as I told you, Ramalinga Swami, one of my students who did PhD here, went on he went on Humboldt Fellowship to Germany and came back to India on Ramalinga Swami. So applications, they open up March of every year. So idea is that those students who they wanted exposure but never wanted to stay abroad, they can come back. When they come back, they get a fixed salary, which is of the scale of assistant professor and little more than that. But what they in addition get is 5-year initial seed money to do research, 5 lakh per year, which otherwise you do not get. So this is advantageous. Then you do have Liverpool Research Fellowship as well as Wellcome Trust India Alliance Postdoctoral Fellowship. These again, the perks are same as what I have mentioned earlier for Wellcome Trust. Now you can look at this Wellcome Trust DBT initiative. It gives you at every level some grant. It could be early career, which is 1 to 4 year post PhD, intermediate, which is 4 to 7 years, and senior scale, which is 7 to 15. Depending on where you are and whether you will be able to utilize the grant, you get all the perks. So if it is senior fellowship, see that you are getting consumables, you are getting equipments, you are getting international, basically publication amount. You are also getting a support staff. So any assistance, if you need, you can get, and up to 4. So you can take postdocs under you if you get this particular grant. In addition, you get to travel worldwide. There's contingency. So this amount differs depending on what level are you working. Young investigators, nowadays there are many grants which have opened up for them. And those who are less than 40 should take advantage of these. And nowadays, we roughly know what is the amount they sanction, maximum they sanction. So there's fast track scheme for young scientists. So if you have a project which you can budget it to 15 and 17 lakhs, 15 to 17 lakhs, you can get this fast track under fast track DST. Voice cast. It gives you better opportunities. So under this again, you can go and visit US. You can visit a university in US. So if you are very good pharmacologist, you can go and do chemical synthesis in US. Or if you are a chemist, you can go and do pharmacology in US. Or, of course, people like us, formulation scientists can make formulations, but many times characterization facilities are not available in one place. So identify where you can avail them from and write this voice cast. Like DST, DBT also gives, only the names are different. Here it becomes now Rapid Grant for Young Investigators and Innovative Young Biotechnologist Award. Remember that wherever it is award, it is tax-free. So that is another incentive which you are getting. And then you have BARC, and people miss this. Now what is required for BARC grant is Baba Atomic Research Center, Department of Atomic Energy. What is required is you identify one person from a DAE institute. And that person doesn't get any grant. You get all the grant. But only thing is you are working in collaboration. So if there are some people in the audience who are, say, interested in developing a radioimmunoassay kit, it can be done. If you are interested in doing radiation sterilization of your dosage form or of herbal materials, that can be done. If you are interested in radiation polymerization, chemistry people, that can be done. And people like us who are in formulation, we are doing lot of work on diagnostics and theranostics. So we are, once you write, this grant is sure to come. And I've seen that many people say that such grants come to government institutes. But when I'm sitting on the other side, I have seen that if the proposal has merit, it goes to private colleges too. So RGYI, which is from DBT, that's Rapid Grant for Young Investigators, it is below 40 years of age. Generally, for women scientists, They do give 5 years relaxation, but you need to check every year. Sometimes it changes. For young women, there are specific grants from DST. So WOSA, which is for women only, again 17 lakhs. If you are doing something which is for societal programs, you can get that scholarship too. Now, this can be survey based grants too. It is not necessary that you have to work, it could be survey based. So, provided you are able to convince to the granting authorities how that survey would be useful. Many times you would have seen WHO site, it has data of all the countries, but not of India. So, it's very important that you write and generate data, and then that becomes part of WHO. Uh, Other grants which come to women are from DBT as well as UGC. And this is snapshot of what I earlier mentioned for women scientists under A condition. Our code, remember always, our code is code 4, life sciences. Of course, if you're working in some, say, dissolution modeling, you can apply under mathematical sciences also. There are very few proposals which come there. And that's the advantage you can gain from them. Okay? But life sciences, all even microbiology people will compete, biotechnology people will compete, all kind of biological science people will compete. So you can see whether you fit in into engineering or you fit it into mathematical sciences. Now, for example, at ICT, I am doing a lot of work on devices. As was mentioned, we have made drug-eluting stents, which are now in 65 countries. Very soon they'll enter into US market, and I think we'll have monopoly. So I tend to write in engineering sciences. So, because translation on the engineering side is not that heavy. And here, being drug delivery scientists, we can roll out products. Coming to which fellowships are available for faculty position, there's something called as DST Inspire. So just like you have Inspire for students, you have Inspire for faculty. Of late, uh, these schemes, they are not allowing the people to join their own state. So if you have done your PhD, say from ICT, you will have to either choose, say, Gujarat or any other state to become a faculty. Earlier, it was permitted. So we have many of our students as Inspire faculty. Okay. This is a little older presentation, but you can take it as that it will be open till October of any year. So this will be open throughout actually, but all the applications get evaluated in November, December. Transition grant, wherein you are doing NIH and then coming back, is also for faculty. And of course, same as for students, you do have Welcome Trust DPT India grant also. As I mentioned about Rama Lingaswamy, same way there are Ramanujan Fellowships. And one of my students who again went on a Marie Curie Fellowship to do postdoctoral research came back to ICT on Ramanujan. See, ICT also benefits when they are getting such prestigious fellowships. So they had opportunity to go to IITs and ISERs, but which are central universities, but they have selected a state. We are, in fact, a state university. So they have preferred that. So that adds to our ranking too. I think we've already talked about this. So Ramanujan, as I said, is for those people who are doing their postdoctoral studies abroad, and definitely they. It's not that they get this 5 lakh per annum seed money and that's it. They are treated on par with any other faculty. That means over and above that, they can receive regular research grants. So any extramural funding schemes, they can apply and they can get grants. So what I'm trying to tell you in a nutshell is they are treated as faculty colleagues. They are not treated as students. As far as research is concerned, I'm sure all of you are aware about where to apply for research. For DST, DBT, CSIR, all of you must be applying. ICMR, when you have again the product in hand and you are doing some preclinical, clinical studies, it's better to write to ICMR. But what people do not know is LSR, the Life Sciences Research Board. Again, I'm emphasizing that we do come under life sciences and therefore do not miss this opportunity. Under SERP, those of you who are working on nano, you know that there are a lot of grants available on nanoscience. So there's mission on nanoscience and technology. There's mission on cognitive science. So all of you who are working with neurodegenerative diseases can avail grants through SERP. Other grants are from AICT, which most of the people I've seen are writing. DRC, as I told you, you have to identify a partner. So I'm sure near you would be INMAS or maybe someone in PGI. There should be some such board who is handling nucleotides, so you can work with them. I generally collaborate with the Radiation Medicine Center, which is very near to ICT, so about 5 kilometers away. But we also collaborated with INMAS, which is in Delhi. Now you can write to DRDO, but of course you have to have projects which can really benefit Army people, Navy people. So think of such things. Or something which I had given the idea to my textile department is, can we have, like you have friendship bands, can we have such bands as mosquito repellents or as insect repellents? It will be very useful to our army. Or can we make cloth, which is totally microencapsulated oil is impregnated in that. So it's perfume, but that perfume doesn't attract mosquitoes and other insects. So such things, can do collaborative research with textile department. We've also worked with dyes department, for example, to develop a ink. You would have seen, at airports, many times they are doing screening, right? So you do have some markings, basically, which have to be scanned. And can we have a tamper-proof packaging material? For example, how will it become tamper-proof? If you are incorporating some kind of dye material which others are not able to duplicate. So in fact, on one such project, we had worked with dyes department. Similarly, you have ICCW, which is for child welfare. So now, in fact, we have established, first time ever in ICT, Pediatric Medicine Healthcare Initiative. That is very, very highly, I would say, motivated lot working in European countries. But in India, we still do not have anything which talks about which kind of dosage forms will be suitable for kids, which are the flavors they like, which are the dosage forms they like. So we are now going to work in, of course, we have clinicians on board, we have industry people on board. So anyone who is interested can become member of PNHR. Then there's Indian Council of Social Science and Research and also INSA. General proposal. Throughout the year, these people will receive your proposals. But if you want to apply for specific category calls, see that you are looking at their website. I'll also at the end give you one website which can give you information in a regular manner. So if you open only one tab in your laptop, that's enough. You need not, of course, you should go to Weblink and see what are the requirements to have an idea, to write a project. But finally, one tab can tell you what is coming in next 3 months. See, about international grants I was mentioning. So you do have, there's a Barc syndrome, which of course affects CNS. So there's a Barc syndrome foundation who can sponsor your research. Same way, there's a psoriasis foundation, National Psoriasis Foundation, which can fund anyone who's working on psoriasis. You do have Human Frontier Science Program. You do have Bill Melinda Gates. This is one which we had got Bill Melinda Gates for under One Health Initiative. And maybe when I'm talking about grant writing, I'll take that as a case study. So all you need to give is only one paragraph to them. It doesn't require the grant to be written for 15 pages. It's only one para. And that one para, you should be able to tell what difference are you going to make, to masses. So we had written for brucellosis, which we developed a vaccine for brucellosis, and brucellosis is a condition which affects both animals and human beings. So under one health concept, both can be benefited. These are some of the other grants which are Indo-foreign, and some of them I've already talked for students. So similar grants are available for faculty also. Cefipra, as I told you earlier. Many grants are available, but how do you keep a tab? And that is, you need to open only this, indiabioscience.org. So the moment you log into indiabioscience.org, these will be rolling. So then wherever you are interested, you can click on that and read about what is required, keep it ready, upload it online and move ahead. There are certain infrastructure grants which are also available to colleges and institutes. And of course, you do have DST FIST program. You have MHRD, of course, this is Ministry of Human Resources and Development, specifically for private, aided, unaided, minority institutes. So obviously, you should take advantage of this. And then there is Welcome Trust, which also gives you infrastructure. For faculty, there are exchange programs also. For example, UK-India Education and Research Initiative. I have been again a beneficiary of UKRI, wherein we collaborated with the University of Bradford at UK. So there were 3 people from ICT and 3 from UK. And we had no chance of doing the pilot plant scale up using PAT-enabled technique. Hot melt extruder they had, which was PAT-enabled. PAT stands for Process Analytical Technique. So they had inline measurement of XRD, and we could scale up our 2 formulations in University of Bradford. So that gives you a lot of exposure. I visited their cancer center, and now we are collaborating with their cancer institute too. Once you go, all the network starts. So it is available to you. So you can see this is just a snapshot of India, UK staff exchange programs, and many Indians, many are all across, they take advantage of this. Under UKRI, you can also do a international symposium. So what you can do is have a UK coordinator and India coordinator. So India coordinator would select Indian speakers, UK coordinator can select UK speakers, right? And government facilitates, and international symposia can be held in Punjab University itself. These are award grants, and as I mentioned earlier, award meaning definitely no tax. So INSA Teacher Award, total money comes to you. There is no cut. Nothing goes to the university. So INSA Teacher Award is 50,000. You do have BP, that's British Petroleum, International Conservation, which is $50,000. This is 50,000 rupees. This is $50,000. And then you have from DAE also, you can get, again, one of my students got this award, and 17 lakhs as an award from Department of Atomic Energy. Same way DBT gives many such awards. James McDonnell Foundation gives, Lady Tata Memorial Trust gives. So of course, this is again to women scientists. So you do get 25,000 rupees per month over and above your salary. And that is for 5 years. Organization level, you can write seminar and conference grants to all these authorities. So now I need not read the names, just by looking the slide, you know where you can apply. For some, there is a limit, the upper limit. For some, no limit has been given. That means you can ask for more. Infrastructure grants from AICT, MODROP, typically now they have increased the slab, but you do get MODROP grants. But again, Ministry of Human Resources Development does give, DBT does give. You can also, once you have basic facility, you can write for Center of Excellence. You know how many Center of Excellence proposals we have written in this pandemic time? 17. Now we have 2 more campuses. Besides Mumbai, we have 1 campus in Jalna, Aurangabad, and another one at Bhubaneswar. So now that we have space, we can write. Finally, aim is research translation. And for research translation, you can get money. It could be venture capitalists, it could be angelists. You can have now, government is also talking about innovation incubation centers. So ICT also has an incubation center here. But very close to us, there are many like Johnson and Johnson. We do have IIT. At IIT, there are two, in fact. So we are taking advantage of all those. So if you want to apply for grant to set up incubation, that is also available. In fact, let me tell you that BIRAC and DBT have done a wonderful work. So right from seed money for an idea till commercialization, they have one grant each at least. And if you're prospering, they do your handholding. So many of my students, they start with GYTI, that's Gandhi Young Technology Innovation Award, which gives directly 15 lakhs in their bank account. Nothing comes to the university. Directly their bank accounts, the money comes. So that idea, then we do scale up. After scale up, we do right to ICMR for clinical trials. Once that gets done, we identify industry and sell it on. Actually, they give you money to become entrepreneurs, but most of the students here, let me tell you, in Maharashtra, little reluctant. They are okay with salaried job than entrepreneurship. But elsewhere, if it was Gujarat or Punjab, I'm sure they would take the lead and become entrepreneurs. So money is available. Only thing is you have to tap. But these are some of the incubation centers which are at IIT. The sign is at IIT itself. You can see when this one is at IIT Mumbai. But then there are many techno parks available. There are venture centers, Hyderabad. All the major cities have incubation centers. And now each and every institute have. So I also given, I think the last slide, I've given some links to the consolidated data. This presentation to colleagues in Punjab University. So, how do you want me to take it to go and finish the next presentation or take some question answers here? Any questions? Please have any questions? If you want, I can continue with the next part. Continue? Or would you like to ask any questions? We just continue with this?
Ma'am, I think we should just continue.
I hope I'm not too fast.
No, ma'am. No. Ma'am, it's so comprehensive. I think it's really, really comprehensive.
Okay, just give me a second. I'll open the other presentation. Is this presentation seen? Strategies for writing and execution?
Visible, ma'am. It's visible.
Thank you. Thank you so much for confirming. Okay. So now that we have seen, funding is available from various sources, we need to write a project. So how do you identify and then how do you generate the focus? So first thing is you need to see whether you are going to generate data, that is, you are generating for proof of concept, or whether already there is proof of concept which exists and you want to advance that data. Very important. Identify whether your research is at POC stage or at advanced stage. Why? Because it is connected to the budget directly. So for proof of concept, typically, no one will give you more than 15 to 20 lakhs. But if you have advanced it ahead, that means you have done preclinical studies and you have some very good leads, you can ask in crores. Also, this is linked to the tenure. If it is for generating proof of concept, maximum 2 to 3 years, not more than that. Now, for example, in this COVID time, when we wrote project for diagnosis of virus, we wrote tenure as 8 months. If we would have written there 5 years, no one would have given us grant. Because everyone was worried, right? And we were actually aiming to come up with a simple colorimetry test, which is very cheap, and that also non-invasive, which we completed very successfully. So you need to look at tenure, and that also would govern the budget. Other thing which is very important is once you have identified what is your field of research, I tell people that go for collaboration. And in fact, most of the funding agencies, they are happy if you have multiple co-investigators. And that also, it could be within the university collaborators or outside the university collaborators. So identify what are your strengths, and if you do not have strength in a particular field, go for collaboration. For example, when I wrote a project on nano carriers combination for malaria, we were the first one to come up with intravenous therapy for cerebral malaria, which if left untreated leads to comatose patients followed by death. Now, nothing was available. What is available in the market is artesunate injection, which needs to be pre-mixed because it is not stable and then given, and only in 20% of the cases it works. So when I was doing that study, it was very important for us to understand mechanistic part. If my preparation is giving action, why is it that it is giving much better action than the market? So I collaborated with TIFR, who were very good both on immunology side as well as they were very good in the biochemistry side. Same way, when I worked on neurodegenerative diseases, I cannot be good everywhere. So obviously, we had limitations here also at ICT of animal house. And I was looking at stereotaxic administration of amyloid plaque into brains directly, inducing Alzheimer's, and then looking at whether our formulations, which were again, awarded by President of India under Gandhi Award, whether those formulations were really efficacious. So I collaborated with another university in Nagpur. So you have to keep your ears and eyes open as to who has what and identify and talk to them. Make them your collaborators. See that they get justice. So when you have budget, do it in such a way that they get what is required at their end. And not that you take all and then give only a part to them. Next thing one has to do is have a very, very clear research hypothesis. Now, for example, when you ask students, what would you like to work on? In my lab, major work goes on in cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, and infectious diseases. Okay? Have you gone through our website? They'll say yes. Okay, what would you like to work on? Cancer. Now, further, next question, if you ask what in cancer, they'll keep mum. Cancer also can be of different types. Could be skin cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, anything. Okay. Even if I say, after giving them the options, if they say breast cancer, I say, what is breast cancer? So do you know what is existing already in market? You have to have a deep insight of what is existing in market. Then you should know what is lacking, what is not there in market to identify the unmet need. So it's okay, you have said that I'll make an intravenous formulation for breast cancer, but it already exists. Paclitaxel, docetaxel, all the intravenous formulations are there in market. Then you have to tell them what is not available in the market is something which goes to the target. So if I have to do active targeting specifically, say to breast cancer, can you come up with a therapy? So that means you need to generate research hypothesis. So in this case, I told my student, I want to give drug by oral route and see that it goes in maximum amount to breast tumor. So that means they have to do all the reading around that. So what did we do? We came up with giving oral tamoxifen citrate, which is also given in market. There's a formulation, but it is not as efficacious and gives lot of side effects. And the route which we selected, we made lipidic nanocarriers, and it is taken up by lymphatic route. So when it is taken up by lymphatic route, you know that sentinel lymph node is the one which gets affected first. From where the mets travel, you would have, I'm sure, heard about metastasis, which leads to death in most of the women. 1 in 3 women in their lifetime, 1 in 3, that's the statistics, in their lifetime will be affected by breast cancer. That's the statistics. So that means there's a dire need to work in this direction and see what we can. So there was an unmet need. So that is your research hypothesis. If I make nanostructured lipid carriers and of a particular size and give them by lymphatic route, whether they would target sentinel lymph node. So that becomes your hypothesis. It has to be as clear as that. It should not be vague. And then, of course, you look at what resources you have. So whether you have resources in the lab, again, I tell my students, start with something which is scalable. You know, industry is yet not ready to order for high pressure homogenizers, ultra-terex, rota-vap, nothing. So if I can have something which is a beaker technology at lab scale, that means on the large scale, they need only a stirred tank. That is sufficient. Then look for whether you require manpower, how much of manpower, whether one person is necessary or 2 are necessary. Now, for example, now we have a project which is SERP-sponsored, that is Scientific Engineering Research Board, which is between us, another institute in Mumbai, which is Bombay Veterinary College, another in Navi Mumbai, which is Bharati Vidyapeeth, and then one sitting in Bangalore, which is an industry, which is IVRI. So between 4 of us, we have only 2 manpower required, because one person who's in Mumbai can do for all 3. And the other part, which is at Bangalore, the other person can do. So identify, don't ask for 4. Don't be greedy. If the project demands and you're able to justify, fine, otherwise don't do that. Then devise time-based goals, very important. Because whatever goals are you going to give, your granting authorities are going to ask you. At the end of every year, there are reviews. So if you have given some deliverables and you are not able to achieve, there will be questions raised, your grant may be stopped. So do not give more than 3 time-based goals, please. Even if it is a 3-year work, 3 goals, that's enough. Don't be over-ambitious. And then, of course, go step by step, give what are the projected outcomes. Funding we have already seen, so maybe we can skip these slides. You can ask from national agencies, you can ask for international agencies. Some of the national funding agencies I have put in this. You would be surprised that besides whatever I mentioned, there's one which is known as ICAR. And this particular agency supports you for agricultural research. And you would say, why have I put agricultural research? You know, whatever are the techniques which we use for our formulations are used for agricultural research. I'm running at least 10 projects of industries which are focused on agriculture. What am I doing? Microencapsulation. To microencapsulate and make green products. So rather than pesticides which have to be, sprayed every season, can we not make them in the control release fashion? So our own expertise, when will they be helpful to them? Can we not make water-based sprays rather than what is there in the existence? A lot of work we can do with the agricultural people, identify them and start working with them, and a lot of funding is available from ICAR. These all I have already talked about, so I will just skip. And international funding agencies also, I have talked about major, but this is DART, which in case I had missed, it is Indo-Germany And Indo-Germany, there are, how many grants per year? You'll be surprised. They give it to 1 lakh students. 1 lakh, which is a big number. And they give you around 1,200 euros. Also, they give travel. Again, all you have to do is identify the host institute and get a yes from them. One requirement for that is that you should know German language. They may tell you to do courses in German, which is okay, meaning our students do a real great job learning German language also, and many of them at school level have done it too. Then there are grants like, say, BRICS or Global Innovation Technology Alliance. All of them are on par with Welcome Grant, which I told you earlier. Just skipping these. Yeah. Coming to writing your proposal, as is mentioned in this slide, you have to be very specific. You cannot be vague. A person who is your evaluator would read your introduction and abstract and decide whether grant should be given to you or not. If you are just repeating and beating around the bush, grant is not going to come your way. So if you're saying, as I told you, if you're saying breast cancer, you're not clear what in breast cancer, not good. If I'm saying HER2 specific, that becomes specific. If you're saying triple negative breast cancer, that becomes specific. So be specific. Then identify collaborator. Though I have written optional, I always go with collaborator. One reason why granting authorities look at collaborators is they know that if you leave this place, meaning wherever you are now working, if you leave this place, they have to shift that money to someone else. So have some people from within the institute, some from outside the institute. And know your audience. By this, I mean is who is going to evaluate your project. No, many of the times, the pharma projects are being evaluated by basic science people. And if you cannot explain in your simpler words to this audience, they will not approve your project. I'll tell you, first time when I visited DBT, I had tough time, but Punjabi I am by origin. I actually fought with the committee. Net result was I did get the project. They kept on saying, why are you not working on liposome and why you want to work with NLC? I said, I want to work with NLCs because they are much more stable than liposomes. But their argument was that liposome is already in the market. So you will move fast forward. So I challenged them. I said, next 1 year, if I do not come up with the progress, you can actually stop giving me the grant. And to their surprise, I had done much more than what they had expected. Net result was a grant actually, initially, which I had written was for 1 crore. The second meeting, I go and ask for additional money. They gave me that additional money too. But unless you know your own basics, how are you going to defend your project? So always don't go in a passive mode. Sometimes you have to be active. Is a message which I'm trying to give you. Be up to date. What do I mean by up to date? Not in look-wise, but everything which is going on in last 5 years, you should know. For that, your reading habits have to be very good. Until today, I read at least 10 papers a day. So I expect my students to read at least 50 papers a day. So be up to date. Nowadays, it's very, very simple. Earlier, we had to go to library, sit there for hours. But now, everything is available to you, right, at the click. So see that you are up to date. And then follow the guidelines which are there in the whatever granting agency you are writing. Organize this data. Very important. When I talk about title, it should be a very, meaning title very specific, which conveys in a very easy manner what you're going to do. It should be simple, original, yet catchy. So if you write studies on transdermal dosage, that is not the title which will get something given to you. But if you write, I'm just giving you a simple example, emulsions of diclofenac diethylammonium versus marketed form. Now that becomes specific, simple. It is catchy because you're comparing it with marketed, and very easily you conveyed it. Many of the agencies have character limits, meaning if I say word, WORD, it has 4 characters, right? So same way, see that there'll be a character limit, maybe 200, maybe 150. So if you do not follow these character limits, if 150 was set, only 150 words would be read by the evaluator. 150 words, 150 characters would be read. Others, they will not be able to read. So be very, very careful about these things. So titles are the ones which form primary criteria for proposal rejection. This is same as in your research paper. From title, you are able to attract the evaluator. Do that. Then comes some projects call it summary, some call it abstract, some call it origin. It is one and the same. So see that you write this abstract or summary after writing the complete project. Same thing I tell my students when they write research paper. Write complete research paper and then write abstract because it is summarizing what you have done. So you need to lay a very, very strong framework. It has to be succinct and specific. In the easy language, you should be able to convey them. Highlight in the abstract itself. Why did you do that work? What was missing? What you are going to tackle? What outcome do you expect? And see that you have relevant keywords. When it comes to keywords, it's very important that if there is a specific cause, you pick up some keywords from there. It's very important. People miss it. So when you're making a problem statement, as I told you earlier, you should know what is purpose of yours. Broad purpose should be known. So cancer is your broad. Research goals and objectives. Breast cancer is your primary goal. Within breast cancer, HER2 is your specific goal. Okay, so that becomes objective. So if you're formulating, characterizing, evaluating, they become your specific objective. Then you have to give background, last 5 years. But when you're giving last 5 years, mistake people do is they give literature survey, but they do not look at what kind of patent survey has been done. So see that patents are also surveyed. Okay, give convincing rationale, very important. Why you want to do this work? It has to be very convincing. So this is your hypothesis. Highlight the novelty. People write, sometimes they have excellent ideas, but they are not able to bring about the novelty. So those who are able to bring the novelty, they are sure to get the project. As mentioned earlier, literature survey for 5 years, include national and international data, see that patents are also reviewed, be very selective and critical. Don't repeat all the references. Something which is there in the review papers and the research paper, same and same. No, be very selective. Also, sometimes it puts you off, if consistent reference styling is not seen. Nowadays, you have so many softwares to assist you. So you can have consistent reference writing style. Also, most of the reviewers want to know whether you've done some preliminary work. So I tell people, do some small amount of work and then start writing projects. It becomes important. Now, for all of you, at your free time, I would suggest that go through this SERP high risk, high reward scheme. Because if you read each of the points which are given in gray, in brackets, says what government agencies expect. Not all government agencies have written, only these people have written. So in origin of proposal, scientific rationale. Risk elements and rewards, you have to say if it works, what are the rewards? If it doesn't work, what are the risks? So unless you have done, what do they say? SWOT analysis. Unless you have done that for any of your project, don't write a project. You should know what are the merits, what are the strengths of your proposal. You should know what are the weaknesses, and therefore you should know how can I tackle the weaknesses also. Okay. Then review international status. So here they want all the references, worldwide references. And here they don't want, sometimes we Indian people, I should not be saying, but I've evaluated projects and therefore I can say. So this work has already been done by someone. Okay. You just hide that reference and give all other references. Do you think the evaluators are fools? They don't have access to database? So correct and faithful description has to be given. Same way, people say nothing has been done in India. But have you really done a check? as to whether the project area something has been done or not. If it is not done, very fine, very good. But if it is done, give credit to those. And yet you can say what they have not done, which you would like to do. Importance of proposed project in the context of current status has to be given. That means you have now identified the gaps and you're saying, how am I going to work so that I can actually bridge the gap? Whether the project is location specific, you can write about it, meaning sometimes, it is Western Ghat specific. So if you are doing something, say, in Uttarakhand region, so it becomes location specific. But many times it is not. Whatever I am doing is applicable globally. But sometimes, that wastewater treatment, when you are talking about wastewater treatment, in Ankleshwar near Gujarat, it may be different than wastewater from Haridwar. So then it becomes location specific. I like that. Coming to the project outline or work plan, very clear, very focused, realistic objectives. Again, it's not important only to give objectives. You have to give solution as to how will you address those objectives. You also have to think in advance as to if my plan A fails, what would be my plan B? So what are the alternate options? Justify experience of PI and co-PI. It's very important. Don't always give principals or HOD's name as PI. I'll tell you the reason why. Because they are going to look at how many man hours are available for that PI to spend on this project. And there all the administrative people will fail. Because they have shown 14 to 16 hours already. Go with the younger crowd, you have more chances of getting the project. Work plan wise, as I told you, methodology has to give very clear plan, no generalized statements. As far as possible, if you can give methodology as a flow chart, as figures, equations, whatever is possible. There's no word limit for methodology. So you can give as much as possible because this is what they are going to read. They are going to understand whether you have done enough literature survey so that you are aware as to how will you execute this research project. Time schedule, give us a bar chart. It's known as per chart also. Give it as a bar chart where you can give overlapping activity. And then nowadays they are looking even at environmental impact assessment and risk. Carbon footprint is becoming more and more important. There are sustainable goals. If you have read about sustainable goals, if not, please read. So world over, we are now being told that if we don't take care, our next to next generation will not have anything to eat. And that's very, very serious. Very serious. Think about it. Give the expertise, give the summaries, roles and responsibilities of all investigators. So just for namesake, don't put any name. Tell what that person would be doing because that is what they are going to evaluate. And then comes to man-force, as I've told you earlier only, depending on the project outcomes, decide what would be the number of people. And right in the beginning, when you are interviewing them, tell them what is expected of them. Many times people come and say, we were not told we have to do this also and this also and this also. I told you, we have appointed a person who would be running about 3 institutes, right? So if we had not told them right in the beginning, he could have taken objection. So we need to decide whether you will be appointing a JRF, SRF, or it is only a project associate or a postdoctoral person. Very clear. Tenure and budget are interrelated. As I've already told you, depending on tenure, give the budget. Don't tilt this particular balance. And budget, you can include what PI will get, what co-PI will get, how much money is there for personnel, that's manpower, how much money for equipment, how much for infrastructure. Overheads also may be different institute-wise. You can ask money for travel. Generally, national agencies give only for national travel. You can ask money for patents, books, contingency. Everything can be asked under budget. Of course, ensure that whatever tenure you're giving, it's feasible to do that work in that much tenure. When you're making that bar diagram or a table, I told you per chart as it is known, obviously you will know whether you'll be able to do the work in the given time frame or not. But always keep buffer time. Always keep buffer time. Why? You never know an instrument, which instrument gives up when. For example, you're using UV spectrophotometer, UV lamp, goes off 3 months to import that if you have not kept it in inventory. Zeta sizer, which I'm using now, right? You know how much money did I spend? 7 lakhs on that lamp. Luckily, we had industrial grants to support. If it was not for that, 20 people who are working with me, their work would have stalled. So you have to really keep a buffer time. See that all the quotes are taken in advance and approximate budget. In fact, nowadays we have started writing in industry project. If during working on their project something conks off, they are responsible and they will pay for it. And they agree because they have to get their work done. So this is the example. In expected outcome or concluding remarks, again, there are character limits, so be very, very careful. Give objective wise outcomes. See that, when you're giving objective wise, you're taking time also in account. So it's very important if you can chart, make a chart and tell them after doing this what is expected. Obviously, one is that you will have from some particular projects, you get a process, you also get a product. From some, you get only process. For some, you get only product. So most of because we aim at platform technology, we get a process and we get a product. And we get multiple products also because it's a platform technology. But besides that, we get holistic scientists, right? Because scientists who join ICT are trained how to do research. And not only how to do research, how to behave. Interpersonal skills are also taught to them. So obviously, your concluding remarks, you can always say all these things. Some tips: read call for proposals very carefully. Plan your proposal writing. Don't stop till last moment to upload. Start uploading as and when you have written some part. Fill dummy information to see what is given next many times. Otherwise, last moment you will be running here to there to collect certain things. For example, most of the granting authorities now need ethical committee permission if you're doing animal studies. So see that it is ready. Use PubMed, Google, Patent Scope. Literature has to be up to date, as I've told you. Perform thorough grammar and spell check. Many times I don't read beyond abstract if I get 10 mistakes with respect to grammar in abstract. Sorry to say that it should not be the, I would say, criteria for judging scientific merit, but it becomes. If this person is not able to write a project, how the papers would be written? If papers don't come, how India will be in the focus? So there are N types of different grants, which we have already talked about. So I think we are running short of time, so I will just take that BMG study, and these are some case studies where I'm trying to show that if you go in a systematic manner, you are bound to get the project. But after project is sanctioned, approval letter comes, it's not that your job ends. Because after sending approval letters also, they might ask for additional information. You can see here, our SERP proposal, they said strictly within 20 days from date of letter, send us all this. So if you're not ready, you're losing. So it is not done till it is done. This was about Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I keep a check on what grants are available. So there was an opportunity under One Health concept. One Health is you are making something should be useful for both humans and animals. What can be better than that? And then you read about it. Then you arrive at what can be done. Are there any diseases which affect both? So we came to zoonotic diseases which affect both. Under zoonotic diseases, we came to brucellosis. So we had to be very, very specific here, giving a very crisp rationale. As I told you, in one para, you have to really convey what you will be doing. So it was very important for us to collaborate here because we were talking about making vaccine to be given by nasal route. And on basis of that, I've got now DBT project for COVID. So basically, collaboration was a must here because antigen should be ready. Then only in 18 months I can give them the project. So obviously, when I took care of everything, we did get. So now on BMG, this is listed. Our organization name comes, Institute of Chemical Technology, my name comes. So now they know this person has handled one such grant effectively. What is the next grant? If I have got this $1 million, I have done all the studies in USA, I am eligible for 100 million US dollar grant. And I'm just waiting for the opportunity. So just keep in mind that pre-award, you have to keep in mind all these things, but post-award, see that you are monitoring the data well, you are reporting the proper manner, you are giving UCs, that's utilization certificates in time, and you are also providing project completion report. Because it's not that always your project will get selected. Many times it is rejection. But don't think that your work is flawed. Seek support from mentors. There are many people whom I have personally helped to say what was lacking in their projects. Tackle the concerns which are raised by reviewers. Get feedback. Someone whom you can confide, pass your data to them and ask them for suggestions. Seek the right reasons for rejection. Is it that you are not giving proper introduction, or is it you not gone the proper way of grant application? Is it that you were misfit for that particular program, you could have applied elsewhere? Or is it that you've applied too early or too late? Anything can be possible, right? Competition is very high. So you need to do your best. But anyone can recover from rejection. So don't have a fixed mindset, always have a growth mindset. Just as we tell our students, marks are not important, knowledge is. Same way, see that you seek help from your peers, find another grant scheme. Again, rewrite. Try obtaining funds from industry. It's not failure of the grant. It's just that there may be 1,000 applicants. So you can go elsewhere and then apply again. Enhance your writing skills. It gives you opportunity to work on your writing skills and obviously develop network. Unless you have a very good network, nothing moves. So see that you have a great network. So nail the detail. Use the reviewer approach. If I was a reviewer, what is it what I would look at? And then you will know that I have to mention all the critical techniques, make them so easy to understand, even if they are not from my field of pharma. Seek collaborators. And please keep in mind, success rate of reapplications is significantly high. So perseverance is always a key. This is our lab, and these are some of the tech transfers which we have done. And yes, we work with this motto, which means that focus. So we work in a very focused way. This is our lab colleagues from some batches, I would say. And you'll see all of them smiling. Each one of them acts as a team member and comes in whenever it is necessary to come as a team. Otherwise, they are working independently. And always remember, secret to getting ahead is always getting started. So in case you have not started, get started. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The house is open for questions. So if you have any questions, you can ask the students. कुछ भी आपके दिमाग में आ जाए जो समझ नहीं आया, you can ask.
You would be glad to know, many of the times it is our undergraduate students when we do brainstorming. When we do brainstorming, they come up with great ideas. So in a classroom teaching, once I have taught them the basic and the advancements which have taken place, they say, Madam, is this which has been worked on? Specifically, out of 10, at least one is patentable idea. So all your minds are versatile.
Ma'am, everybody was spellbound only, as always. As always, so awesome. And I will just say over here, I have always been impressed by the academic excellence. Ma'am, you are awesome. Such an inspiration for all of us. And I will just mention one thing that has always touched me. Ma'am, your generosity. The way you share so generously, what you know, what you have achieved, you are so generous with it. Your kindness and your generosity, that has always touched me so much. And now I hand over the mic to Dr. Bharti. She will be proposing and Dr. Gupta.
Ma'am, this one query, like supposedly we have a POC with us and we want to proceed further for carrying out, say, maybe preclinical studies in a GLP certified lab. So do I get some projects, do I get some money for that, or because that's too expensive?
You do get money. Yes, if you have POC, definitely you get money. ICMR.
Okay. So ICMR will be giving me money for carrying out preclinical studies in animals?
They give preclinical also nowadays. Earlier it was only clinical. Is it a herbal formulation or a synthetic one?
It is a herbal formulation.
Go for Ayush then. Ayush is
Okay.
much better.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Thank you so much, ma'am, for this informative, comprehensive, and rather, I would say, the eye-opening talk for us. Ma'am has made us aware about various national and international agencies and short-term programs, travel grants, international grants, student exchange programs, faculty exchange programs. And lastly, she told us about how to write the project. Ma'am, we have written so many projects and we face the rejections also. But maybe after listening to you, we came to know that where we have to work upon. So we'll be needing your help in this rejection recovery, ma'am.
I'm always there. You can count on me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I invite Dr. Gulshan, head of the department, for sharing his views, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. This is this has been very nice, comprehensive, know-how about the projects and the fundings. And many other things, although we have been into this teaching for more than 20 years, but some of the things we were not knowing. And thank you for opening our eyes. And that's why the students, they don't have any queries because जो चीज हमें नहीं पता थी शायद उनको तो कहाँ से पता होगी फिर.
And the talk was so exhaustive
and the
comprehensive.
talk was very comprehensive, very exhaustive, and definitely it is going to benefit all of us. And आपसे मैम ये डिस्कशन करते करते हमारे माइंड में एक आइडिया आया था कि हम डिपार्टमेंट में ना एक फंडिंग फैसिलिटेशन सेंटर बनाएंगे so that the students or the teachers they can get benefit from that center. And उस सेंटर में अगर क्या पड़ेगी आपकी जरूरत बहुत ज्यादा पड़ेगी उसमें.
I'm always as I said, उल्टे पाँव चल के आगे में पटियाला.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. On the behalf of our the whole department, our organizing team, thank you so much, ma'am. बहुत धन्यवाद. Is there anyone else? Right, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
भैया मैम ये कि नई रीयूनियन है तो जय महाराष्ट्र, जय पंजाब, जय भारत.
जय भारत, जय हिंद.
Jai Hind.
Thank you for me. I have another meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
Thank you so much,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye.